What's going on, everybody? This is Clint from the Diehard MMA podcast. This is odds.com. This video was filmed exclusively for odds.com. We break down UFC 257, Dustin Poirier versus Conor McGregor, with special guest, the UFC's own Brian Boom Kelleher, helping us out on the podcast. It's a great episode. Make sure you check it out. Hit the link below. Head on over to odds.com.
Next up, we've got Brad Tavares taking on Antonio Carlos Jr. And this is a fight that, man, I can't make heads or tails of. Brad Tavares, 17-7, seems to kind of filled into that gatekeeper role, can't quite get that next step up in his competition, but he's incredibly dangerous. I mean, nice volume of strikes, kind of sitting on his punches a little bit more lately, coming off a nice knockout win before his last little skid, obviously. But he's training with Punahele Soriano, who just had that excellent fight on Saturday. He's training with Francis Ngannou. Very effective from range, likes to bully people up against the cage. 77% takedown defense and never been submitted, taking on the black belt Antonio Carlos Jr. What can you tell us about this one, Boom?
Yeah, I mean, never been submitted's big in this fight, right? Because we know Shoeface, which I love his nickname, he's gonna be trying to take this fight to the ground, and I think it's gonna come down to the wrestling. Like, can he take a guy like Brad Tavares down? He's a strong guy, big guy, and I don't think he's an easy guy to take down, and he's very dangerous on the feet. I think Shoeface is his striking's a little bit underrated, but I know Brad Tavares is gonna have an edge there for sure. It's really a matter of can Antonio Carlos Jr. get the fight to the ground? If he can, I could see him pulling off a submission. He's very tricky down there. He's got crazy leg locks and sweeps and stuff like that, and he'll throw up some wild stuff. So I could see him latching onto something on the ground, but I just don't see him being able to get him down and control him, and therefore I lead towards Tavares being able to get a decision. I don't think he's going to put away Antonio Carlos Jr., but I think he'll outstrike him and get the decision win.
To everybody listening, I swear to you that we didn't script this or talk about our fight picks before, but I couldn't have said it better, man. I feel like Uriah Hall kind of wrote the book on how to beat Antonio Carlos Jr. Stay safe, make sure you protect your neck, and then just grind this guy, and that's exactly what Brad Tavares is capable of here. I don't want to dismiss ACJ because he's a beast, but I see this thing playing out, a little closely. But Brad Tavares coming away with the win. And what we've seen in Abu Dhabi is those judges like the striking volume. A lot of these guys are not getting a ton of credit for the ground control, for the grappling, for pushing someone against the cage and just holding them there. If you're striking them and they hold you against the fence, you're still winning that fight in Abu Dhabi from what we've seen. And that's kind of where I feel Brad Tavares should be able to do just enough to squeeze away with a win.
Yeah, isn't it weird, man? With Abu Dhabi, it's almost like somebody tells the refs, like, "Hey, listen, if there's some holding, just separate that quick. We want to see some excitement here."
Yeah, it's weird, man, and that's you were talking about before with the weigh-ins, how there's all these different factors, the freaking judges and the venue of the fights, just one more layer of the game that we play, man. But that's it's something that I feel like I've kind of honed in on. That if you've got a fighter with a volume advantage, they're probably going to get the nod if you're in Abu Dhabi.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You could tell it's definitely favored. I've seen it a bunch. I mean, it just seems different there, especially with, even on the ground. It's like if you're not throwing heavy ground and pound, they're like, you got to work. You got to work.
Yeah. They'll stand you up quick if you're not doing something with it.
Yeah, for sure.
It's I can't imagine fighters with a wrestling heavy mentality, man. I feel kind of bad for them because if right now there's no options. You know what I mean? You're fighting in Abu Dhabi or you're not fighting. So, you go out there and put your wrestling to use. Unless you're dominant, you're probably not getting the nod.
Yeah, you got to have some vicious ground and pound in there or else they're going to stand you up. I mean, you can't just outpoint by position.
Yeah. It's interesting, man. The stuff that you guys deal with, we're huge fans. We love to watch it, and I don't know how you guys handle some of this stuff sometimes.
I don't know either sometimes, man. It's a wild life, but it's definitely I would never give it back for sure. 9 to 5s are overrated, man.
I agree. I will agree with that. All right, man. Closing out the preliminary card, we've got Arman Tsarukyan taking on Nasrat Haqparast. That is a mouthful. Arman comes in at 15-2. Nasrat is 12-3. Just seemed to have righted the ship after that bad knockout loss he suffered against Drew Dober. Really high-level prospects here on both of these guys, and I'm really curious to see what you think on this one. Lightweight fight. What can you tell us about these guys?
I'll just say one thing. I mean, I fought on a couple of cards with Nasrat, and just watching the guy cut weight, he hits mitts like a madman. I mean, his speed is on another level. It's just sometimes that doesn't translate into the fight. You know, it's crazy. You see guys, they look special to you, but then they lose in fights sometimes. I mean, and Drew Dober is no slouch. The guy has a lot of power, so you know, nothing to be ashamed of getting a loss to Drew Dober. But both of these guys are still, you know, very hot prospects. I feel like both have big futures. You know, and you know, Arman's got power, so I think Nasrat has to be smart and he has to utilize his speed and really try to be a little bit safer here. Don't get caught in the firefight. You know, utilize his reach and his speed and try to just kind of land from the outside. I don't think he wants to get caught again, you know, especially coming off that Drew Dober loss, going to be in the back of his mind most likely. But I do think that seeing this guy's speed, it's something different. You know what I mean? It's definitely different than a lot of guys that I've seen. And at lightweight, it's special. So I'm going to lean towards Nasrat. I think he'll outstrike him. I think the fight will probably go the distance. Arman could take a shot, it seems like. And I'm going to go Nasrat by decision.
Wow. Okay. So I don't know if you've checked the betting odds on this one, man, but Nasrat is currently a 2-1 underdog, plus 200 on Nasrat Haqparast. So rolling with the dog there. This is a spot that I feel like it's dog or pass, man. Arman Tsarukyan really impressed me. His first fight in the UFC, he draws Islam Makhachev. Like, talk about a bummer. He drops a decision, but he was incredibly impressive in that fight. Strong grappling, great takedown defense, tight boxing. He likes that low calf kick, and he mixes in trip takedowns really unexpectedly. I really like everything this guy brings to the table. And then he fought Davi Ramos, and he was more than willing to play inside Davi Ramos's guard, which Davi is a high-level jiu-jitsu player. That's dangerous, man. Like, I thought Arman would defend the takedowns, stay on the outside, stick and move. But no, he takes him down and beats him up from inside of his guard, something that just massively impressed me. But at the same time, I don't know that he's worth 3-1 here. I don't think he should be this big of a favorite over a guy in Nasrat Haqparast with the hand speed that you were talking about. He's got a great takedown defense game himself, and if it wasn't for that single unfortunate bomb that Drew Dober dropped on him, this is probably lined a whole hell of a lot closer. He was on a 3-fight win streak before that happened.
Yeah, I think he's definitely one of the bigger live dogs on the card. You know, he's a very talented guy. I think, you know, basing off his loss to Dober is definitely playing a role in these odds. And just Arman, you know, Arman has displayed a very well-rounded, dangerous game. You know, like you said, to go into Davi Ramos's guard like that and do well, have a good fight against Islam Makhachev, like those are big deal, you know, and I think that that's playing a factor in these numbers. But I just lean towards Nasrat with that speed, man. It's just something different. I've seen it in person, and it looked crazy fast in person. So, and that's during a weight cut. So you can only imagine, you know, in the fight, fully refueled.
Wow. Okay. All right. So Brian picking Nasrat Haqparast for the outright upset here, plus 200 underdog. I'm going to side with Arman Tsarukyan, saying he's going to win the fight, but from a betting perspective, yeah, it's dog or pass. You got to go with Nasrat if you're going to lay any money in this spot.